And the important thing is to keep winning rounds of racing, because you earn 20 points every round you win. So the further you go in competition, the more points you can amass per event. Gary Clapshaw qualified in the number 8 spot at a 5:43, beat Whit Bazemore in the first round with a 5:54. Meantime, the number 1 qualifier, Etchells, a 5:18 and 2:86 his qualifying time. But talk about slowing down from your qualifying position. As we look on board with a Kendall Snap-on in-car camera, Etchells only ran a 5:57 in the first round when he beat Keith Jackson. Etchells in stage. Clapshaw rolls in. Oh, and Etchells loses control when he loses traction. Clapshaw's got serious problems. He was easy pickings for Chuck Etchells, but I use the past tense of the verb. Here is the Smokin' Joe's car. Gordy Bonnet doing the driving. His opponent is Gary Bolger as they start the engine in the Creasy family Tyrant. Neil Creasy, the car owner, reaching up and lifting the body up, will drop it down over Gary Bolger as he proceeds on with his burnout. Let's go to the far end of the racetrack and Steve.
Chuck, it looked more like a rodeo than a drag race. You had your hands full.
Yeah, I sure did, Steve, but that was dirty pull by Clapshaw. I sat in the stage beam for 10 seconds with the clutch out, and that's nonsense.
Too much engine heat?
Well, it builds heat in the clutch, and I'm not saying that's what caused it. But, you know, we're supposed to be playing fair here. And I don't do that to anybody, and that's about the 3rd time this year it's happened to me, and I'm sick of it.
He's hot.
That he is, Steve. It's a hot day here in Denver, and I guess if it had happened to me, I might well have the same reaction, but may well be a matter of perception as the amount of time involved. Bolger filled the number 14 qualifying spot with a 5:63, then ran 5:80 to beat the surprising Jim Blake, who had qualified number 3. Gordy Bonnet had the number 6 spot. He ran 5:35, one of the best of the year for him, and then 5:47 in the first round when he beat Dean Scusa. The tricky racetrack bit Gordy Bonnet. Loss of traction, allowing Gary Bolger to squeak by for the win. 5:63 and 2:57.
Just a bit ago in the second round, he took out the low qualifier, George Marnell from Las Vegas. Watch how close this one is by an eyelash for Ekman. Jerry, I think we can chalk that up to you having been around a lot longer than your opponent.
That right, I got the win line. It was awful close. I looked over as I approached the finish line. He was right there, and I knew he was running real fast, so I didn't know who won. So it's good to be here talking with you, so that means I won.
Driver's favorite thing, a hole shot.
That's great. Thank you.
On the other side of the ladder, there's Kurt Johnson in his Oldsmobile. Remember the big headlines last year? First into the 6s, won almost $100,000 at the Englishtown race, and never fired another shot all season long. He's looking good here, partially because, watch this, in round number 2, Steve Schmidt, who was quicker, overreacted on the starting line, disqualified, and Kurt took it. Believe that. Kurt, unless you know something we don't, had he not red lighted, I'm not sure you could have handled him.
No, he was running better than me all day. He ran a 50 first run. I ran a 52. And, you know, Steve's been driving real good. He won Columbus, and he's been doing a real good job over there. And we're just happy to be where we are. He was leading me in points, and I needed that win really bad.
So the semifinal sets up like this. It will be Warren Johnson against his own son, both, of course, in Oldsmobiles. And Warren will have the lane choice with a 745. On the other side, a pair of Pontiacs, Jerry Ekman against Jim Yates, the McDonald's car. And Yates will have lane choice by virtue of a 747 the previous round. Mac?
Steve, we're back into round number 2 action in Funny Car Eliminator. You talked about Jim Yates and the McDonald's car. Well, here's his teammate, Cruz Pedregon, at the wheel of the Joe Gibbs Racing McDonald's Pontiac against the Formula Firebird Castrol GTX car of the Winston Points leader, John Force. Now, Force has been able to build himself a rather substantial lead coming into this event, and he has done it on the basis of winning. He's not necessarily been the quickest or fastest car on any given weekend, but he has that uncanny ability to get to the finish line first. He qualified 4th at a 5:28, beat Gary Densham in the first round with a 5:24. The Cruiser was the number 5 qualifier. He ran 5:31, then improved to a great 5:25 in the first round, but missed that lane choice selection by 100th of a second. The lane choice goes to the quicker car from the previous round, and that is John Force, who operates under the tutelage of that man, Austin Coyle, the crew chief that Force readily credits with all of his success. On the opposite side of the racetrack, that's Larry Frazier. He and Bob Brandt serving as the brain trust. Brandt, the crew chief, on the McDonald's Pontiac. Oh, for a moment, it looked like Pedregon was going to pull off an upset, but then he lost traction. John did too, but Force was able to recover, motored on for the victory at a 581, 234 mile an hour speed. The replay shows you just what happened. For Pedregon, he had a reaction time advantage, but a disadvantage in the traction department. Force also was wanting just a bit of trying to get those big old 17-inch wide Goodyears to stick to this hot asphalt, but he won the race.
This thing is a little like a thrill ride at an amusement park.
Boy, he was a great white knuckler, buddy. She got loose, and then Buck Cruz had me. Then he got out, and he got in trouble, and she come around, and she smoked him again, and I know it was sprinkling on the burnout. And I thought, Castro, we're in big trouble here, buddy, but she kept them candles lit and smoked her right on through there.
It's the typical right now with the Western Auto Slick 50 Pontiac of Al Hoffman. Out the front window, you see Al's wife, Helen. You see the dark skies overhead, but it's dry at the moment, and we keep right on racing. Here is the Pioneer Dodge Avenger, the Art of Entertainment car of Tom Hoover. The Showtime guy qualified in a number 7 spot at a 5:36, then smoked the tires in the first round, but still won. Al Hoffman qualified number 2 at a 5:19, ran 5:22, and the fastest speed ever recorded at the Mile High Denver racetrack at 294 miles an hour plus when he beat Jim Epler in the first round. He is absolutely astonishing in the speed department. To his credit, earlier this year, he ran back-to-back 306 mile an hour speeds. And Hoffman is in the driver's seat here. Look at this. 5:22. Speed of 291 miles an hour. Hoffman advances to the semifinals.